Hey, what's up? What's going on, you guys? I know a lot of you guys probably don't know about this channel. A lot of you guys haven't even heard of this channel. But this is just going to be a simple explanation, reasons as to why I will never date a Haitian woman again. Pertaining to the fact that, like, if you're not born in the United States, all right, now, English is not your first language, or I understand English is not going to be your first language if you're Haitian, but the fact that, like, if you were born in Haiti and you came down here, or you were born in another country and you came down here, that's a no for me. Pertaining to the fact that, like, when this relationship that I'm about to discuss with you guys, it's my relationship, and I had it with my baby mother, and I learned a lot from her. I realized, like, when someone loves you and when someone's looking out for you and for themselves, and then, for everybody, like for us, there's a difference between me, you, and us. All right. Now, and it's just in simple. It's so simple to me. And I speak of this because next relationship I want it to be right. I don't want to, jump the gun or make any mistakes which I've had before, or I've made before, I should say. I want this to be, something which I myself, I want, not something I'm forcing myself into doing, or, deep down, like, I don't feel comfortable doing it, or there's no pleasure or joy in doing it for her, or, anything. I don't want to have no resentment after I leave the relationship, because it is what it is, but at the end of the day, you still got to be a man, and a man want to do things his way. And I understand that, like, some of these women, they like to, they come from all around the world. And I say this because you see a lot of Filipino women, a lot of Asian women, a lot of Spanish women, a lot of Indian women, a lot of women that take their culture and place it on themselves and bring it to the United States. And I'm not for that, but pertaining now to relationships, all right? I don't want to find myself in a relationship where the woman speaks mostly Creole, and when she's talking to me, it's like, I have to be explaining stuff to her, and you're not, like, not that you're not smart enough, but you're not, you're not smart enough towards the situations which I'm talking about. Therefore, I have to explain it to you in another manner, which you would think I'm talking to you as a child. And I don't want to do that to anybody, and I don't want anybody to feel that way when I speak to them, So I don't ever want to find myself in that sort of relationship again, towards domesticating a woman, and then, lo and behold, she's up and gone, and I will never find myself in that position again, nor will I ever make way for that to happen to me again. And I want to tell you guys this story. So I met this girl, like, we was working together, and, I'll be honest, I thought her sister was cute. Her sister was cute, but her sister was really young, and I was like, oh boy, well, that's out of the question. Then I met her, and, she was cool, and, we joked and we laughed and we played around, and then, like, she took the trip to my crib. It's like, she came through, and your boy, I'll be honest with you, your boy did not put it down like he thought he was, because I don't know what it is, but after, like, I'm done with, well, after I'm through, or, like, I have I'll be honest with you, sometimes your joint don't work. Honestly, your joint don't work, and then you just gotta find yourself comfortable enough to be around a person where you find them not only attractive, because she was attractive, but during this time it was, like, a little harder for me, because I don't know where she came from. I don't know where she's been. I don't know, like, what her her sexual nature is at the time, and I just wanted to hit some skins and call it a day. That's what I wanted to do, but deep in me, I wanted to get to know her. I wanted to, see what she's about and learn more about her and what she's doing and, where she's at in life. And I wanted to do all these things. But then lo and behold, like she came over and, your boy didn't stand tall. Like we had problems. And I was like, what the fuck going on? And before that, I had this one Trinidadian chick came through too, and the shit happened, and I'm like, yo, what the hell was going on with my joint? Like, boom. But during this time, I stepped off, and I grabbed some Mount Gay rum, and I was like, all right, boom, let me relax, boom, boom. I was like, all right, cool, boom. But then your boy came up. Your boy was like, all right, cool, like this is where we at right now, like, boom, because like. She just made me feel welcomed, like like I was needed, like she sat there and she played with my head and rubbed my head, and I don't know what it is, but when a woman plays in your hair and rubs in your hair, it makes me feel more like like I'm loved. I'm like I'm good. I'm in great hands. So I had no worries, and then your boy got up, and within 2 twos, boom, we knocked it out the park. And from then it was just like Hall and Nash. Like we were just together, like boom. We clicked. And I never thought about, like this could be someone else's property which I'm using in the meantime. All right. And I just moved off with her, and I'm like, all right, cool. So we had a pretty okay relationship, I should say. And I had my shortcomings because before her I had a kid, and my money was going towards him and what he needed at the time. And I'm not gonna lie, I was buying stuff for myself, and but I'm the type of guy, like if I buy myself a pair of shoes, I want to see my girl rocking these pair of shoes as well. So I might cop her a pair of shoes, or I might cop her a watch, or a phone or something. I want to see her with the same shit I got. I'm not like I buy this and because it looked good, boom boom, and I don't necessarily go out buying her clothes and stuff like that, but times where I'm like, all right, so yeah, that shirt will look good on her, and I know her size, and I know everything about her. Like I knew her size, know her foot size, I knew stuff like that, and I would go and buy her stuff, and it's like, all right, boom. But when it came to me now, like I got these huge ass shirts, like like shirts that, I'll be honest with you, shirts that I would send home to my to like my family back there, the bigger side of my family, like them very, and shit like that. And I'm like, it is what it is, boom. But I saw that, like she wasn't doing the same things for me that I was doing for her, and I wasn't being treated the way I thought a relationship should be. So I was like, all right, cool, boom. And then what hurt me was the fact that she said, well, you don't buy yourself stuff, you don't dress, like you don't dress well, you don't dress you don't dress, you wear the same coat, you wear the same t-shirt, you wear the same clothes. At that point I was like, ooh, I was hurt, and I was like, oh wow, okay. I took it to the chin, and I was like, it is what it is, boom boom. But little did she know was that I was, at that point I was saving money to get a car. I had car insurance, and I had my rent to pay, I had my kid to take care of, I had all this shit to take care of, boom. But I still tried to maintain, and I would buy shoes, the off brands at the time. I was like, you know what, boom boom. But I would buy that for myself. When I'm buying her, it had to be Nike or just Adidas or something nice. I I will play cheap with myself and I will buy her the legit shit. And I found myself, losing myself in this relationship. And what was the nail in the coffin to me was the fact that, like, one time, I might have hurt her, hurt her and say some foul shit. And, honestly, I said it out of anger. And then, the fact that, I myself know that, she is, she is, she doesn't have a good relationship with her father. She's not in the place you want to be. And I had to say to myself, wow, okay, cool. But what was the nail in the coffin for me was the fact when she told me about her friend. She was like, yo, my friend, she's cool. Like, you should go out with her. You should. I'm like, in my head, I was like, huh? What, huh? So I was like, okay, all right, cool, boom. Now I saw this friend like every time I go to pick her up, and what made it worse was the fact that, like, I don't even think she told a friend about this, because the friend and her, they have these relationships, right? And these are strong relationships they have with their exes and their peoples in another country, which I only know now. This is me speaking about the past. And I'm like, oh, wow. So even if I would have dated her friend, right? If me and her didn't work out, boom, and she said, yo, look, come talk to my friend. I'm like, all right, cool, boom. But I wanted her, because I don't know. I wanted her because I liked her, and, like, I came to like her, but not, like, I would say deeply in love with her. I'll say I wasn't deeply, deeply in love with her. I liked her, I loved her, but not as deep as, going out there and hurting myself over her or anything. I've always thought about her with logic, because I saw that at that point, if I can do this for you and you find a problem with doing what I tell you or doing what I ask you to do for me, I was like, okay, so we're not there. And then, what made things worse was the fact that, like, we had a kid together. I'll be honest with you, we had a kid together, and it hurt most when I told you, yo, well, things are not, going the way you want with your your father in the house, and you want to move out and everything. I was like, yo, you know what? Come stay with me, boom. But instead of staying with me, she went and stayed with her aunt. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, cool. And I helped her move there, and I was like, you know what? Your aunt, she's cool. I ain't got no problem with your aunt, boom. But then, in the same household, her aunt's daughter and her, they were cool. They were cool. But then my daughter was born, and I mean, she started to feel that, like, my daughter was taking up the space from her. Like, my daughter was, a big deal, because her mother loved my daughter, and nothing could come before my daughter in her mother's eyes. And this girl, I'm talking about her cousin, that girl, this girl. She was listen to me. She was beautiful. Her body was nice. You know what I mean? Like some thick shit. You know what I mean? Like some nice shit. You know what I mean? Her size was just on point. But me and her, we never spoke. We never really had a conversation like that. We might say, hey, I was like, hey, what's up? What's going on? How you doing? Boom. And I kept it pushing. But I never really paid her any attention. But then I saw, like, my girlfriend / baby mother at the time, she was going out with her, and it was together, boom, boom. But lo and behold, homegirl felt some way because my daughter was getting, like, treated a certain way. And even though the woman had a grandchild from her, so her grandchild was playing with my daughter, and she was cool, but at the time, it was just like friction because like my baby moms came there and she wasn't working at the time. She was off, and she was just dying for a job and everything. So I spoke to a couple of people, and I'm like, yo, you know what? Look, I know you want to get out, you want to get back on your feet, you want to work. You dying to work. It's been like 6 weeks done passed, and you antsy right now. You can't stay home. You don't feel comfortable being here. Let's see if we get you a job. Boom. So we got you a job. Boom. I got her the job. Actually, I must say I got her a job because I'm driving. I stopped and I'm like, yo, hey, yo, look, my baby mom's at the time. She knew that the GM of the GM that I used to work with. I spoke to her and I was like, yo, blase blase, like she's looking for a job, boom boom. So she contacted her, and she was like, all right, boom boom, I'm working, yeah, I'm back working. And I listen, I got no praise for that. I got nothing from that, but she wouldn't know, and I don't think she understands like the amount of shit I had to go through, you know, with her, and then being the fact that like she's working and everything. I told her, look, listen, come. I wanted her to come stay with me because I had my own place. Well, not my own place, but I stayed with family. But I had a room. You know what I mean? I had a big room that she could come live with me, and she said, all right, cool, boom. But I guess it's women. Women don't like to live with other women, and for some reason, she wasn't so sociable with my family. And then when she had some. At the time, my mom's had a boyfriend or something like that. He came to the house and he was drunk, and I wasn't home, and he started talking reckless to her, and she wouldn't tell me this. She didn't tell me this, and all after the fact, she tells me. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't know any of this was going on, and she was, getting tension, being the fact that she came over by me and she trusted the fact that I said she would be cool and everything was good. But she came over here and I was like, all right, boom, I'm thinking everything's cool, but being the fact that we had our child, and then the next year, then after she filed taxes, I was like, all right, cool, boom. So I'll let you file for the kid, and the year after that I will file for our daughter, and we could do it back and forth. So she then, as soon as she filed, right, this is what she did. She went, filed her taxes. She got the money back. She didn't tell me how much money she got back, but she was like, okay, well, I got this money back, boom, boom, and this is what I'm going to do. She went and signed a lease with her friend, the same friend, baby father, for a place that was charging twice, or not even twice, like almost $2,000 for a place, 2 bedroom, which is smaller than the place I stayed in. So she went and paid two stacks for that because it was her friend, and her friend's boyfriend slash now baby father slash husband slash I don't know what's going on with them anymore. But that's what happened. So I found myself like, oh, okay, all right, cool. So because she wanted me to go with her to view these places, and at the time I was working, I wasn't able to, just zip up here, there, boom, 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 and jet and go to these places, because when she was working, I was off, and when I was working, she was off. She was home. So it was like, Then one is don't have the kid, the other one will watch the kid. Boom, boom. That's how we did it. And while she was over here at the time, I always pursued the fact, like, let's have a little family dinner. Let's thing. I would try to foster that relationship. That way, like, let's get closer. Let me know more about you. Let me hear about you. Boom, boom. The struggles you've been through, all this shit. I would do that. And now, after I knew all this stuff about her, and I gained all this knowledge about her, boom, boom. I didn't know what was going on with her and her phone or anything like that. So I was like, cool, it is what it is, boom. But she went, got the place, boom, boom. I helped her move in. She told me, oh, you can bring your stuff, you can do this, you can do that, boom. So I brought my stuff, and lo and behold, all this time I was like, what's going on? Like, I had this weird feeling, like, somebody's like watching me, boom, boom, or somebody's, but lo and behold, my daughter came up in that house, and my daughter knew that house, boom, boom. But my daughter didn't really know my house. My daughter only came over here, and she stayed, boom, boom. But through everything, there was a night I woke up, and, like, I believe it was her, not this friend that she had gotten the apartment with. It wasn't that friend, but it was another friend. And this was the time where we had broken up. I mind you, we had sex like once, one or two times. Like, I can remember the first time we had sex and the last time we had sex. Now, the first time we had sex, it was in my apartment. The last time we had sex was in her apartment slash her friend and everybody's apartment that she had it in over there. Right now, after that time we had sex, she said, you know what? I think I had asked her, yo, like, what happened to the seasoning that I had bought? Boom, boom. And she got so mad. She said, you know what? I'm done with you. I'm done with this. And I'm like, what? Over a bottle of seasoning for chicken. So I was like, at that point, I was like, what? Are you serious? What you talking about? Boom, boom. So I was like, yeah, it is what it is. Boom. And I then tried to, like, do everything I could. I was like, yo, I love you. I tried to get her back. Tried to, try to get some pussy. Like, boom. Like, everybody, I tried to get some pussy. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm not gonna lie, like, within a night or two, she would let me, she might throw me some pussy sometimes. Like, like, we in bed, I might pull her close to me, and, might get a little poke or two. And then she, oh, no, no. And then, all right, cool, boom. I ain't stress her. I ain't never force her to do anything she didn't want to do. And if she didn't want to do it, I'm like, she pulled off. And I was like, all right, cool, that's it. Boom. I never really was worried about that. So, coming on, like I said before, her friend and her having this conversation, and I was privy because something just didn't sit right with me during that time. And all I could hear or think about was the conversation which they were having. Now, mind you, I'm in the room. I'm trying to, get some sleep because it was a night I was off. So I heard, her and her friend talking, and her friend asked her, like, something about, was last time you had sex, and you talking to somebody, and they was pressing questions towards the guy and asking him all these questions, and she's out there with them having a blast. I mind you, they're all Haitian, speak Creole, and her friend would speak in English when she wanted to ask questions, but they'll respond in Creole so that I don't know what's going on. But I heard this question about and it just threw me off at the time, and I was like, oh wow, okay. But I had to keep my head low. I had to shut up, boom, boom. And I saw like, yo, well, after a period of like 6 months or so, that like it wasn't working out. So I took my things and I left. I was like, all right, cool, boom. I'll just leave. I've been back, came back to my family's place, moved back in, boom. And within two twos, um, the new nigga had shown up. But before any of this happened, she kicked me out. She asked me to leave her house because she found out that I was talking to another woman. Like I was seeing another woman at the time. And me, it's a lesson I've learned. Don't ever use that Apple messages shit because it shows up on every device. And I had an iPad and she saw it on the iPad. I was having a conversation with this woman and I cracked both of them on the same day. So she felt a way about it and she was like, oh, okay, cool, boom, boom. And she said, no, just leave my house, boom, boom. I was like, all right, it is what it is. I'm not going to argue with you. So I left and that was that. But what I would never say to anyone, and I mean, I might be a bitch too because I had seen her phone and I noticed like she was talking to the man she's married to now. She was talking to him, and mind you, I don't speak Creole, but if you have messages, you check the archives and you see what's going on, boom, boom, and you see the conversation she was having, and it's like, okay, okay. But I never really cared. You know why? Because my head was already out the window. Once you cut off the sex and you said that was it, I was like, yeah, I'm looking for someone else. I'm not even gonna hold up with you. I'm not even gonna hold you anymore. You do your thing. This is what you want. This the road you chose. You chose to cut me off over a argument we had over a bottle of seasoning, mind you. And this is Bajan seasoning that I'm talking about, just so you guys know. Those kind of seasonings, not just adobo or anything like that. But so I had to play my part, and I was like, oh, okay, I see now. So I moved on, and lo and behold, within two twos, I saw homeboy first time opening the door to allow my daughter to come outside, and I was like, oh, okay, boom, cool, yeah, cool, But lo and behold, the place where she had fallen to shit, had fallen to shit because, like, after I left, she brought the whole family in. Like, the whole family came and lived in that place. Some of them was working, some of them was not. And every time you go there, somebody there new opening the door. My daughter's telling me about this person and that person. And I was like, okay, cool. You shouldn't, I don't want to know about your mother's family like that. I don't really care about your mother's family anymore like that. Like, it doesn't faze me now. So I saw what she did, and I'll leave it alone. I have nothing to speak on this woman. Let this woman go. I'm not even studying her, but I felt like a fool. I felt like a fool, and the fact is, like, I took her with me to my country, and for some reason, like, everybody thought, well, she came with you, but the thing was, you don't know how things are done. And till this day, she gave my homeboy $100. She gave my homeboy $100, right? But my homeboy didn't understand. Like, I paid for her flight. I paid for her documents. I'm the reason she got a U.S. passport. I'm the person who told her, yo, boom, boom. And if she needed extra money or something, she came to me and I gave it to her. And I was like, all right, cool, boom. Right? I was the one. But if she told you this story, or she told you what happened, I am the bad guy. I did her wrong. I am the person who did her wrong. All right? So I rather not argue with him about, anything, because he thinks she's like gold to this world. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, well, you don't know her like I know her. So, yeah, you just sit there and he's livid with, she gave me this, she gave me that. And that's something that, it doesn't bother me, but it's like, bro, like, I've done so much for you and you still don't appreciate it. So I'm like, all right, cool, boom, it is what it is. I'm not going to let it faze me. Just keep talking about it because, boom, you seen one of the women I messed with, and you felt good, and the fact that she gave you this, she did this for you, and I'm like, all right, cool, boom, it is what it is. But a man is not gonna tell you, look, yo, well, I just paid for this bitch I paid for this bitch passport. I I bought the ticket for her to come with us, and I bought my ticket. And at the time, tickets were expensive as fuck. And we only went for like a few weeks, 2 weeks, and we was back down here, and boom. But I'm not gonna lie to you. And the time we visited there, that's where my daughter was conceived. Lo and behold, that's where my daughter was conceived. We went there in what, July, Aprilish. I experienced crop over, and I was like, all right, cool, boom. I bust her down. Like what? 9 months later, my daughter's born. So I'm not mad at that. My daughter was conceived in Barbados. Well, my daughter was conceived in the islands, I should say. But yeah, I'm not fazed by anything. But after dealing with women, and like, it just put a negative taste, because I thought the world of her. I thought, this was gonna be it, because I knew her family knew me. Like, we talked, we chilled, but when we drank, her brothers took me in at the time, and I was thinking like, yo, family's cool. Her pops was cool with me, and everything. But she was doing her. She had her little thing on the side. She was fostering that relationship too, and I was like, okay, all right, well, it is what it is. But even after that, I was cordial with her family. I was like, you know what, hey, it is what it is. Boom, hi, how you doing? Boom, boom. I kept it pushing. Boom, but I never really spoke to them other than that, and I felt like I got used throughout this relationship, because I bought stuff for the house, and I didn't want anything. Honestly, I didn't want anything, because my daughter was there, and I'm like, all right, cool, boom. You can have this, you can have that. But something which I never did was, because I bought the bed. I bought a bed for us, and I bought a bed for us because, like, I had family coming down here, and I needed a bed so they could stay on. So I bought the bed, and my family came in and stayed in the big bedroom. I gave them my room, and we just slept on that small, well, not the small, because it's the same size, a queen size bed in my living room. Like, had that out there, boom, and you're not comfortable sleeping in the living room where people turn on the TV and people about their thing all day, boom. But we had our issues, man. But I will never find myself dating another Haitian woman again, because, like, no matter what I did or I said, she just didn't. She didn't want to be with me, and I was like, all right, cool. I'm not going to chase something if you don't want me. If you don't want me, it is what it is. So I just had to let it know, like, fuck it. I'm not even on that. You could do you. I don't really care. But I learned that, if you speak Creole or a language which I don't speak, I gotta play it for what it is. I'm not looking to be with you. I might have you for a period of time. I don't expect it for a long time, but I'm gonna have you. But I don't want to deal with Haitian women again. I'm sorry, and it's just to me. I've experienced it, and it's like, yeah, it's cool, but nah, I don't. So forgive me. Well, I'm not gonna say all Haitian women, because Haitian women are okay, but I don't want to deal with you if you're, like, new to the country. If you just land, or I don't want nothing to do with you in that manner. I don't want to, wife you or girlfriend you or anything. I'd rather mind my business and keep shit pushing. So little does her brother knows, but that's the reason why, like, she might tell you all the stuff which I've done, and me, fucking with somebody else because your sister cut me off. She said, like, she's not giving me no cat, and then during the reasons why I went and talked to these other women was because she cut off the sex, and That was it. And me as a man, it's like 30 30 at the time, 31 or 32, 31ish, 32ish at the time. I wanted to fuck. I was like, yo, look, I got I got a bitch in the house, and I got food cooked. I got all this food. I got all this shit. I got black rice. I got everything. I got it all. I got everything. Boom. I got everything. Boom. I don't need to go out there. But then I guess because, she started feeling the way, she started to cut me off. She pulled back on sex, and that's all. Listen, this woman I have done so much for this woman without even saying it. Like it shouldn't have to be said. Like she know I pull up and I get this done, I get that done, but you know, even to this day, she will respect my opinion or respect the advice I give her and come to me for advice rather than her own husband. I say this because she's looking at me to this is what happened too. She she asked me, "Yo, hey, can you go look at a place for me?" That I'm like, why the fuck is your husband going to look for this place with you? Like, why? Like why? That's not what I'm supposed to do. But then I had to say to myself, you know what? I'm not mad. You know why? Because I have a daughter with you, and you know, I'm not going to think. And if she's with you, then I want to make sure the place is at least decent. But that's something I had to just sit back, take a step back, and just calm my nerves and just let it be. I can't you can't force someone into loving you, because then it's not real love. Like, they don't care about you. They don't they don't want to fuck with you. They doing them. So I had to pull back from that, and I work close to the brother. I don't work with him pertaining to our jobs aren't the same, but I see him on a daily, boom boom pass. He doesn't speak to me, and I'm like, all right, cool, ain't no problem. You got to do you. Shit, you hold grudges, you do your thing. But as a man, I'm telling you, this is something I'm telling you. You will suffer and go through the same experiences I have with women. And I know, you might not. It might not be the same. It might not be the same kind of woman, but you're gonna get fucked over in this life by a woman. I can only imagine the stress and the problems you're gonna face with them. But I promise myself I will never do that again with another woman that is not, wasn't born here in America, or, like, it's not from where I'm from. Like, I'm not going through that. I'm not gonna sit here and wonder what the fuck she's saying in these messages and all that. And I'm not using no Google Translate for the bitch. Like, I'm not doing none of that. So either you fucking with the boy or you're not. And I'm just gonna keep it 100. Yo, listen. Next to the next woman, you shit. Hey, it is what it is. I'm not chasing anything, but I don't find myself dating a woman unless she's total English speaker, or she English is her first language, and she's either in America or she's from another English country. I apologize to the French women and all this stuff, and all of the Spanish women, and Haitian, Portuguese, German, all you guys. I'm sorry, but I'm not. I can't find myself doing that again. I've been down that road once already, and I saw there was problems, and despite everything, like, love couldn't win, and love doesn't win. It's only what you can do for the bitch and what she can get out of you. But nah, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's like, why will I find myself dating Haitian women again? Like, I just had it. I'm tired. I'm like, and then you telling you Haitian. I'm like, yeah, you good, sis. Listen to me. This is not me as a person. As a person, I know Haitian people, I know Haitian women, I know Haitian men. I'm cool with them. Like, I'm cool, but I can't say, I want to date you, or, I find you, I can find you attractive, but I wouldn't find myself dating you or even like trying to pursue you just for sex or anything. I wouldn't do that. No, it's a waste of time. Anyway, that's what I had to say, and it really, came on me because her brother, man, her brother just, ugh. But anyway, I just wanted to get that shit off my chest, bro. I had to speak on this. Anyway, I'll holla at y'all later. Stay safe, stay blessed.